What's happening, dude? Good to be here. Just got done headbanging from the intro scene. The thing gets me so juiced up at the back of my neck starts to kill after a while.
Sure, that's not the only thing that makes your neck hurt.
Well, things happen. You know, bumps hurt. Don't care what anybody says. Bumps hurt. Those are things.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah.
See, who do we have here? We have Dylan H., who became a pay-per-view membership supporter during Ignition. We have Tommy Johnson. We have Hunter Dillon. And we have Jet. And we have Zamore.
Jet was in chat doing his things, saying stuff about people that just don't make sense in any universe, let alone this one. You got Derek Stone firing off at the mouth. What's going on? There was a lot of like verbal menagerie of something going on tonight between the chat and on commentary, but the action in the ring was fast and furious tonight. There was a lot of good matches in the ring tonight, and Adrian Mascara showing up and showing out again against the Warhammer Lilith Grim. We'll get to all that stuff, but man, there was some fantastic action in the ring tonight.
We also have Sprouty in chat as well.
Sprouty, dude! Yes, Sprouty, getting older does hurt. Yes, it does. That is not a myth. Maury Povich determined that that was the truth, by far.
All right.
Our Ignition champions, Amori's here. How we doing, sir? Hunter, Jet, you mess. You mess.
What did Jet say tonight?
Oh, he's a mess. He said that La Isla is the unjustified champions because of the second match that they got because they're buddies up with Danger Dean and all the rest of the verbal diarrhea. There could have been, if he was in the arena, there would have been at least a 5-minute long "Shut Up, Jet" chant in the arena. The amount of stuff he was typing in chat tonight was ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Well, he definitely has those moments, that's for sure.
Oh my goodness, man. It was one of those nights tonight, let me tell you. This kid. This kid.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Dudes and Belts Reignited here on YouTube. I am your host, Johnny Deathdrop, as always, and like Marky was saying, another wicked pisser Ignition tonight.
Wicked pisser guy. Wicked pisser Ignition. Ignition is and has been the top show of the wrestling. This is where you come to find that classic RMP action, man. It has not been disappointing. Between the points chase and debuts, this has been the place to be.
And boy, do we have some controversy coming up a little bit later on in the show about the points chase.
There be some.
There be some. We're going to need some clarification.
In me
That's
best
for sure.
pirate, there be problems with the booty. Whatever the hell that means. But anyway, yeah, no, we're going to talk about something when we get to the main event later on this evening. But up until then, from bell to bell, there were issues with the bell tonight. There was a couple issues with the bell tonight. We'll get to that.
Yeah, it was broken
in a few
or something?
minutes. There was a couple dings that sounded dongy. I don't know.
Nice. A couple dings that sounded dongy.
Something like that. Something like that.
You mean like the ding dong chocolate cakes?
You know, not a huge fan of those.
No?
Not a huge fan.
Me neither.
Aren't
Me
they ring dings? Aren't they called ring dings?
Are they ring dings?
I think they're ring, or maybe one of them is, I don't know if they dinged. I'm a Funny Bones guy myself. I'm going with the peanut butter cream instead of the regular. I'm a Funny Bones guy. Toast those things up, like you put them in the toaster for like 30 seconds just to warm it up. Oh, you'll thank me later. You'll thank me.
I think I'm good with that.
Oh, so good.
I think I'm good. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we will be announcing our next membership live stream tonight with a special RMP talent.
Right. I forgot about that. We were announcing that tonight.
Yes, we are.
I still don't even know. Like, Johnny's keeping this a secret even from us. So I have no idea. I'm with every one of you out there right now. We're all going to find out together in a little while or whenever Johnny chooses to make the announcement. I'm kind of curious who's going to be the next guest over here on Dudes and Belts. I'm very, very curious.
Put it this way, it was a lot of work and a lot of strings pulled.
We just had Marionette. We just had Noel.
Oh, haha, knee slapper. I gotcha.
Ah, you like that?
Yeah. Thinking quick on your feet there, buddy.
Quick. Got to keep up. There's a
All right.
shortstop's hands. I got shortstop's hands.
All right. You ready to talk about tonight?
Let's go, bro.
All right. To kick things off tonight on this edition of Ignition, we have Sky Horseman, your former Ignition champion, going up against your reigning and defending NRW champion Mercury Yaden. We haven't seen him on Ignition in a long time.
No, it's been definitely a few minutes. And we see why he's the NRW champion. We see why he's a champion. And we see what that experience will do. This match started on the mat. Most of it was on the mat in the middle. Sky Horseman, he calls himself the ground grappler, and we know why. We've seen him go. We've seen him be able to pick a body part, an arm, a hand, and just keep somebody down. And Yaden and he have a very good exchange on the mat. If you're somebody like a ground grappler, Yaden knows how to ground grapple as well. And they showed it off back and forth. Sky got I was surprised at this. He scored a big shoulder tackle off the ropes and got an advantage. He threw everything he had into the shoulder, and it took everything to take Yaden off his feet. But it didn't really last very, very long. He went to the second rope and tried like a crossbody, or it was coming in for a dive, and Yaden caught him with that Mercury Rising. Man, that's quick. That's one move. You're in control. Yaden's reeling, and then he sees it coming and turns it into a finisher, into the Mercury Rising DDT. Yaden gets the big win. Sky Horseman loses a point in the standings, falls down to -2. And Yaden being the NRW champion, just moving forward, there's a lot of confidence in the bank for Yaden going forward with everything that's been happening with Damon. Now he's in a regular match against a good quality opponent and finds a way to get a cheeky win out of it and did very, very well, I thought. Looked great from bell to bell. Although there was an issue, speaking of the bell, with the initial opening bell of the evening, that one of the dings sounded dongy, like I said. Yaden made him ring the bell again, and even the second ring didn't go so good. So I think Yaden's going to be looking for, there might be an ad somewhere for a new bell ringer, apparently. Might just need a new hammer. I'm not quite sure. But either way, Yaden gets a good win here. And Sky back to the drawing board. And Sky come out by himself, too. So we're watching the pieces in the law office crumble right before our face.
Yeah, and I think
a good win for Yaden.
I think Yaden needed this win anyway, just to build some kind of momentum going into Milestone 13, because we all know what happened at Peak of the Pack.
Truth.
So, and I know he had the run-in with Damon this past Tuesday on Charge, where he kind of took liberties into his own hands and took Damon's sunglasses because it was a little sunny outside.
Well, first it was wicked sunny because Damon didn't see Yaden coming. And then at the end of it, Yaden took the glasses and walked away. So, Yaden having some uptime right now, doing good. Damon had gotten physically the better of him the last couple times, but the fact that he got the better of Damon the other day at Bierstadt Uncharged, and then tonight gets the good win over Sky Horseman. Things looking up for the champ right here.
All right. I'm going to keep on rocking and rolling here. We have Lockett's action to talk about. You have Midnight going up against Noelle. I believe, no, not undefeated Midnight, because she lost a few weeks ago. But still, very dominant Midnight going up against a very crazy marionette Noelle.
Yeah, wicked. This is the kind of the undead battle, or the evil Lockett battle of the evening. These two kind of opposite ends of the spectrums, but of the same side of the bracket, maybe you would want to say. Midnight being
How's it going, Queen?
the unstoppable force in this match. She's just so big and so powerful. Noelle tries going low to begin, and that's probably a sound strategy against somebody that big. And we see eventually none of it really works because Midnight has that big power. We see her get her up in a vertical suplex and do those squats. And we've seen Midnight do it many, many times. She gets somebody up top, and while they're up, she's doing a couple squats. That is nothing to mess with. Noelle ends up going back to the leg, clings to the leg, kind of like a kid would cling to their mom or dad, on the leg, and just doesn't let go. Starts with the knee strikes. And we see a little bit, one of those shots might have hurt Midnight a little bit, but the power game is still absolutely there. She gets her up in a big torture rack and makes sure to stomp the ring a few times to get that concussive force as she goes down and up. just kind of making Noelle lose her sense of balance and just be very, very disoriented. After she drops her down, kind of lifts her right back up into that what a wish a bitch could drop. And just straight down on the face goes Noelle. And, you know, even in this match, there was a lot of times where Noelle kind of brought that crazy, kicking out after that big overhead suplex when we thought the match was over. And that match was over a few months ago before Noelle might have joined the Asylum and found this new part of herself that's in there that's brought in the aggression, the extra carnage, I guess you could say, that Noelle has brought lately. That would have been the end of the match, but Noelle kicked out more than a couple times. It's kind of frustrated Midnight. She was kind of on the point of losing her cool, but then when you get her up for that big face down slam, man, you could have counted that. That clock counted Midnight twice. So good win for Midnight, getting back on track. And Noelle back to the drawing board here a little bit, although I don't think this is going to phase her. I don't think losses really phase Noelle right now. I think Noelle is just there in the Asylum using these matches as like experience and in trying to build confidence in the rest of the Asylum. So she's doing a good job, but at the same time, Midnight tonight just far, far too powerful.
And you also got to remember, with these wins that Midnight's been compiling up lately, there's a possibility that, obviously not Milestone, but after Milestone, you could be looking at whoever comes out as the Lock S champion having to go toe-to-toe with Midnight for that title somewhere down the line, because besides that one loss on Tuesday against Manny Lemons, which it took Manny Lemons and Lord Mitchell Taylor to beat Midnight, by the way.
It really did. The whole package. I don't care what Lord Mitchell Halis says. No, it took a whole package deal to beat Midnight.
She's been unstoppable in the Lockettes division, so good luck whoever walks out of Milestone 13 as the Lockettes champion, because I think Midnight is going to have her eyes set on the new champion or reigning
I'm
champion.
telling you, you come right out of the fire of a match at Milestone and you have to walk right into the graveyard at midnight against Midnight. Not a fun proposal. But Midnight's name is eventually has to come up for a Lockettes title shot. She's just been overall dominant. She brings a presence, like an extra aura, to any match that she's in. Much like the Asylum does, much like JC does, much like the Demon Lilith Grimm does. She brings that extra presence that we always saw. She has that. Midnight has that aura about her. She can't be denied for too much longer.
All right. Moving on. We had ourselves one hell of a contest here between Brew and Briscoe Crown.
Mm-hmm. This was a great match. Brew has been unstoppable. Look, he got some new gear. It looks like he's lost a few pounds. He looks fit. He's fast. He is just ready. Briscoe Crown tonight brought every bit of the fight because he had to bring that fight. This match was a story of like a David and Goliath type situation of the smaller guy going up against the big Brewmark, the Buffalo himself. And no matter what Briscoe did in the beginning, Brew could always come back with that big power. He gets Briscoe in a corner with a huge splash and then an absolute just chucks him into the corner as fast as he can, smashes him in the back, and then chops all over the place. The power advantage here is with Brew, but Briscoe just end up fighting him out. He fights out of a sleeper. Brew has the leverage on the sleeper too. It's not like this is some standing sleeper. No, he's got the leverage down on the mat. And Briscoe fights his way up, couple big drop kicks to the face. The second drop kick, even Bossy was in chat, the final boss, and he typed all caps drop kick because that was an all caps drop kick, man. He screamed at him with that one, but it was too much for Briscoe to overcome in the end of it with some huge shoulder blocks. And he hits him with not the world's strongest slam, but the Brew's strongest slam. He really picked him up way up over his head before he planted him down for a really, really close. And I mean, you couldn't have gotten any closer if something was on sale for $2.99. He got really, really close to getting the 3 count, but Briscoe manages to fight his way up. And this was Briscoe's story all night long. This resiliency out of this young man
to
be the smaller man. It really has. It's been his story that he can just take the beating and keep on ticking like a Timex, an old school watch, man. You could do anything to that thing and it would still keep ticking. And Briscoe finds a way at the end gets snapped off the ropes. It looked like he was trying for the tilt-a-whirl at the end, but I think Brew saw it and fought it off. But Briscoe still managed to get a quick crowning achievement for a fast 1, 2, 3 and gets the win. I was so surprised. I think everybody on commentary, Stone was surprised. I don't know if it's necessarily an upset. I think this is just the story of Briscoe finding those ways. We saw it during the Grand Prix. The man cannot be beaten in the month of March. And I know it's May, but hey, it's another M month, isn't it? And he's finding ways to get it done at the end and beat the Buffalo and kind of knock Buffalo down a peg in the standings. Buffalo was up there at 3 points, one step away from kind of being right on the doorstep. But Briscoe Crown got himself back up to par, to the 0 line. He's not negative anymore. So this is a big 2-point swing if you're a guy like Briscoe Crown. And your man Kendrick LaRoe is coming to the ring later on tonight too. So this could be a big night for your starting lineup.
All right. You basically touched on all the points that I was going to touch on, so we'll just move on here. But before we do, if you guys are watching on YouTube, please leave a like on this video and make sure you leave a comment after the fact so that it hits the YouTube algorithm so that we can push these shows out to the masses on YouTube. We greatly appreciate your support as always. And obviously, make sure you subscribe to Rocky Mountain Pro, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single episode of Dudes and Belts. Yes,
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. Ring the bell, sucker. Oh, sorry, boss. Ding, ding, ding.
And you won't miss any.
That's a shoot.
And you won't miss any Rocky Mountain Pro charges or ignitions down the line, because I mean you're not going to want to miss these episodes going into Milestone 13. That's for sure.
No, there's a lot of pivotal information, matchups, and everything that we need to know coming into the biggest event of 2023 for Rocky Mountain Pro.
All right. We have more Lockettes action to talk about. Adrian Mascara impressing the masses once again, going up against your #1 contender for the Lockettes Championship at Milestone 13, Lilith Grimm.
Huge fan. Got to say, Adrian Mascara has come up into an already crowded Lockettes division where there's stories aplenty, people making their own noise every which way you look. And then here comes Adrian Mascara, the psychedelic lock one herself, man, the psychedelic one. She's coming in and making impacts against people. And tonight we see her come back in against Lilith Grimm. And she does so very well at dodging Lilith. She gets out of the way of the power. The power advantage is always going to be with Lilith. But Adrian does very well getting out of the corner, trying to take Lilith down. We saw she almost took a page out of how Sky and Yaden started the match by trying to just keep Lilith off her feet, keep her down on the mat. Because with every tool in Lilith's arsenal, if you're keeping her face down on the mat with a leg or you have her arm, you are in a far better position. But I think Adrian got lost after a few minutes. Not really lost, but I think she started to see that she kept being able to keep Lilith down for that. Now, Lilith had some nice reversals we see into a single leg crab where Adrian had to get the ropes. But overall, Adrian was able to control a lot of the mat, but then she started going too much for the psychedelic lock. And we've seen some people like this, like Kendrick LaRoe was somebody who was doing it for a while. Once he figured out that Superdome, it was almost like every single time he went for the head, somebody was ready for it and they got out of dodge. They got out of the way of it. Lilith saw that this was coming and did everything she could to power her way back out of it. And that was her biggest advantage. And her biggest strength was her power. We see a huge collision on the ropes as she whips Adrian off and just comes in with the body collision right on the ropes. Adrian doesn't even get a chance to come off. Like the ropes spring her into Lilith. And then there's Lilith as being the brick wall that she is. She gets her down on a knee and just massive clubbing shots to the chest. Gets a near fall out of it, gets her down. Adrian was another one that showed amazing resilience in this match, able to kick out and just get back up on her feet. She goes to dive, though, for a big crossbody. Lilith catches the crossbody, slams her, plants her down like she was a seed in the springtime, and just trying to get her into that mat. Locks on the Lilithine, and I think there was like 4 or 5 separate shots into the mat, and then ends up turning her over and pinning her and gets the big win. Adrian really, really, really brought the moxie. If anybody else in the Luckheads division is watching, this is how you wrestle a powerhouse like a Lilith Grimm. You keep coming to you get into there, you dodge, you get out of the way, stick and move, and then take advantage when you can. And Adrian is doing such a great job of it. Very impressed. But the Warhammer, Lilith Grimm, so much it going her way, looking forward to what's going on. They couldn't get an answer, though, out of commentary when she was going to the back after she did win, whether she would accept the coffin match that JC proposed. We'll probably get that answer in the coming weeks. But Lilith Grimm looking dominant. Adrian Grimm showing up, but Lilith Grimm finding ways to walk out the victor and getting the win here in the match.
Adrian Grimm?
Adrian Mascara. Did I say Adrian Grimm?
Yes, you did.
My fault. It was a great match. That's what you get when you put them together.
All right, I am going to have to agree with KD in chat, though. Mark my words, Adrian is a future Lockets champion.
I agree also.
And she's already showing this moxie a couple months into her career. It's pretty amazing, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely catching on really quick. And against Lilith Grimm, of all people, especially with the mindset of Lilith Grimm right now, going into Milestone 13.
She got a lot going on right now and still found a way to beat Adrian tonight when Adrian was there. Adrian showed up for a fight. There was no intimidation. There was no nothing. Adrian Mascara showed up for a fight and brought a fight to Lilith Grimm. And I'm sure that there's some respect earned on the side, but that'll have to be demonstrated at another time because right now Lilith Grimm has JC and the Asylum on her mind first and foremost.
And the momentum is still building on her side of the camp as well. I mean, as much as Adrian kind of beat on her a little bit at times, Lilith Grimm finding a way to pull off the victory and staying in that mindset. You actually kind of saw a little bit of a tweak out of Lilith Grimm halfway through the match. I don't know if you caught that.
I didn't. I missed that. I didn't see her go to that place for a second.
Whether or not it was intentional or not or whatever, that demon that we saw last week on Charge, not this Tuesday, but last Tuesday, that's in there somewhere. And I think we are all lucky that the demon didn't actually show her face tonight. Because I think this match would have went a completely different way if that was the case.
Oh, I don't think it would have been as competitive as it was, but
No.
I don't think Lilith Grimm needed to go to that place. Adrian didn't goad her into that place. Adrian came and just brought a solid, very high quality wrestling match to Lilith Grimm, and Lilith Grimm countered with her own solid, very quality wrestling match and came out the victor here tonight. And Katie actually brings up a good point.
Yeah, we
saw
that
at the end of the match, Lilith had a whole bunch of blood on the side. I didn't know if one of her maybe earrings just kind of punctured the back, but he just said it got ripped out. And that happened to a friend of mine when I was a kid, and that bled for a long time, and they said that was one of the most painful things that they could have felt. And she carried on and kept going like the true champ that she is. So Lilith Grimm, man, tougher than a $2 steak, as Jim Ross used to say, I think it was. Yep. Tough kid.
To-do list studio so close, smoke and mirrors, yet so far.
So very far. We'll get to that.
All right. We do unfortunately have to talk about a knucklehead here coming up.
Yeah, we do. But a knucklehead did a knucklehead thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, what do you expect nowadays? Right?
Out of him?
Yeah.
Honestly, far worse. This was actually tame tonight for a Curtis Cole. For a Curtis Cole match against somebody as big and athletic and somebody who can outpower him and just throw him out of the ring across the street at the Wimmer Arena. I honestly expected more than this. But he slipped up and did it in probably the dumbest way possible. So well done, Curtis Cole. Well done.
All right. Kendrick LaRoe, once again, showing more Moxley. He's just growing every week. I can't get enough of Kendrick LaRoe.
You're not wrong, right bro. Same thing. Same thing.
Kendrick LaRoe versus Curtis Cole. And
Great match.
And Cole has had a very busy week.
He has. He has, and they don't get any easier with a Kendrick Lareau, man, with this guy the size of a small Volkswagen. Dude's huge, and if you're Curtis Cole, you got to get in there and just start chopping the big man down. And he's really not able to. Kendrick starts off with a quick advantage, scores that crossover senton in the beginning, letting Cole know that he's in. But Curtis gets away with one here. We get the first advantage change. Cole gets that closed fist to the face. Eli's standing behind. Cole positioned himself with all that XP bar that he's got directly between him, Kendrick, and the ref. Put Kendrick right between him so he couldn't see. But you could tell that Eli's keeping a good eye on this here because, it's Curtis Cole. You kind of have to. And I think Eli's here. What's up, Bossy? I think Eli was here, and it's something that no matter what happens in a Curtis Cole match, you have to keep extra eyes on him. And in the end, it proved correct. It goes very much back and forth. Kendrick is just powering out of the corner. Cole tries to throw a couple clotheslines completely in vain. The big man's just too strong, picks him up, big sidewalk slam, knocks Cole down. Cole fights his way back up to the corner. Kendrick had perched him up on the top rope. Cole scores a boot to the mouth. And then the big blockbuster that takes Kendrick down off the top rope here. And we're talking after they've grappled for a few minutes. So the big blockbuster is usually like where it's at. If you're Curtis Cole, you get that. Match is probably over more often than not. Kendrick kicks out again at a solid 299. And Cole is completely flabbergasted that the young man can kick out of that big blockbuster, but I don't necessarily think he got all of it coming off. I don't know if he's used to giving it to such a tall competitor. I don't know if he got him all the way around the head and actually slammed Kendrick down enough. He might have gone too far over him, but he didn't get all of it in there. Lareau ends up powering out of the cover, firing his face up. He gets a massive Uranagi. I mean, he picked Cole up way over his own head. We're talking the man's already almost 6.5, almost 7 feet tall, and he had him over a foot over his head. So that's a 7-8 foot drop right to the canvas in the Uranagi. Cole kicks out at a 299. Both of these guys are absolutely exhausted, just kind of rolling around next to each other. And Cole gets up and knuckleheads himself right out of this match. And the fact that he was already the #1 contender, he got the drive to 5, he's got 5 points. In a sense, if you think about it, he's got nothing left to lose. So whether it was a conscientious decision or not, I'm still going to laugh at him because in a moment where he was actually wrestling a very, very good match, he full fist, close fist punches Kendrick Lareau in the face. Eli sees it like it's a tree growing on a beautiful summer day out on the hill. It's the only tree out there. It's the only thing. You can't miss it. And Eli rings the bell, and Kendrick gets the win here. This was a very good competitive. You got to say something about Curtis Cole. This was a wicked good competitive match between the young man and the crafty vet. But the crafty vet, slipped up, did a dumb thing, got himself DQ'd, and this is big. Kendrick Lareau gets the point. He's now up to 2 in the standings, so putting himself right in that mid-pack to get up there for the 5. Curtis Cole, he's got that 5. He's the #1 contender. He's got other things to think about. I don't think he's worried too much about this, but you just handed a point to the big man, and it's going to change a lot of things going forward in the drive to 5 right now. So, but yeah, well, I don't know, Corpus. I don't know about that. It looked pretty good. It was fairly even up until that point. Yeah, he just ate that big Uranagi from Kendrick Lareau, but it was still very, very back and forth. Both fellas had hit a massive move, and both kicked out of the big moves, the blockbuster on Cole's part and the Uranagi on Kendrick Lareau's part. So it was almost like we hit the reset button on the Nintendo with both of these guys absolutely exhausted. So at that point, anything could happen. But usually, Johnny, that's where we see what you were talking about before, like a lot of the knuckleheadery and stuff like that out of Curtis Cole. But we didn't get a chance to see it.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
And if you look at Zamore's message in the chat.
Well, that's a big point for Kendrick, I believe.
That's huge. It puts him up to 2. He's right in the mix of it now. There's a couple of people at 1, but there's only 2 people at 2.
And boy,
1 or 2 wins away here.
And boy, we got to talk about the point standings.
We'll get there.
That's going to be a very interesting topic to talk about. See who else? We just had a whole bunch of new people here. Let's shout them out real quick here. We had Katie.
Thank you for everybody jumping in.
Yeah, we had Katie who hopped in. Read a couple of his comments. We have Bruce Wayans, former Rocky Mountain Pro champion. We have Eli. We have the founder himself, Yaden. We have John Corpus. We have Zamora. We have Ned Niederlander, Jared C., Alice Lane, Queen. I didn't mention Queen. But yeah, it was a favorite tonight. Was our first live stream to Twitter. Go to RMP Twitter, like the video, retweet, and leave a comment. It's at 113 watching now and 514 total.
Hey, that's awesome. On a Twitter live stream. That's fantastic.
It's at 113 watching now.
Right now.
Wait, right now?
Right meow.
We live on Twitter now? Or not? I don't believe you.
I didn't know you could go live on the Twitch.
I didn't know either.
I did not know these things.
Hold on, folks. We got some investigation going on here. Oh, yeah. We're not live now. Ignition was live. Okay, so Ignition was live, had 115 viewers, and the whole new view thing that Twitter has is at 520. That's why. So we'll just do this. We'll do that. We'll do like. And we'll retweet. And there you go. Ka-ching. All right. Lots of me are currently watching Ignition from earlier. Oh, that keeps going? Wow. I didn't know that. All right. Well, it looks like we're going to be thinking about doing a Twitter live stream for Dudes and Belts.
We went live on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. Next week we add Instagram. Sweet. Put it everywhere. Put it absolutely everywhere.
Oh, so I guess the dudes might have to do something like that. Maybe not all of them. All right. Let's move on here. I'm not going to even attempt to play with that right now. That's going to take a little while for me to figure out. And I'm 21 hours straight up. So yeah, I'm not doing that now. Anyways, we got to talk about this one. I know you're like chomping at the bit right now, trying to figure out how you're going to put this match into perspective here. Sergey,
no.
Sergey going up against Caden Koyama. And boy, oh boy, was there some stuff happening in this match that we didn't think would ever happen in our lifetimes, ladies and gentlemen.
There is trouble in paradise, ladies and gentlemen. There is trouble everywhere you look in the law office. There is trouble in JK Popland. There is all kinds of shenanigans and stuff going on. Look, Sergey beat Caden Koyama tonight in a good competitive match. However, tonight, usually when we see JK Pop in singles action, usually the other member of JK Pop is running interference or distraction against their opponent. Tonight, I think Johnny Casanova wanted us to believe it was by accident. I don't think it was any accident. I really don't think this was any accident. Going through in the beginning part, Sergey has a few moments where he is looking good in the beginning without even having the muffin button getting going. But Sergey whips Koyama off the rope, and we see Casanova reach in the ring and grab a hold of Caden's foot and trip him up. And that messes the whole thing up, and Sergey kind of takes over here. And Sergey's having his way with Koyama. A bunch of splashes in the corner, and he whips Koyama to the ropes, and Koyama goes up and over and ends up getting crotched on the top rope. And Sergey comes over and kind of like grabs the rope and like waves the flag, if you know what I'm saying. So right away, Casanova is becoming an influence in this match in the exact wrong way that you want to be doing that. If it's for your brother that you care about so much, we've seen these two kind of not be on the same page. And here we go right away in a match with Sergey, not on the same page whatsoever. Koyama does manage to get himself back in after, Sergey gets a near fall on him, believe it or not. Koyama manages to get his way back up, and we see a lot of our patented Koyama offense. We see the shots, we see the leg drop, we see a beautiful spinning toe hold out of Koyama, really taking Sergey to school. Sergey gets his moment to fight back up. He is the bigger dude, and he does, but he tries a roll in from the second rope from the outside, and it really just ended up bumping himself. It didn't really go so very, very well. And Koyama ends up getting back in, having his advantage, just taking his way. He gets slingshot up into the ropes, though. Slingshot Sergey up into the bottom rope, kind of right into the head area. So we were curious if that muffin button got pushed. As they come back and work back into the center of the ring here, Casanova ends up making his way up onto the apron, and Koyama turns around and allows it to distract. Now, this is on Koyama directly. Casanova started it, but Koyama really turned around and started really paying attention to Johnny Casanova up on the apron, which I don't know why Casanova's up there to begin with, but Koyama gets distracted. Sergey rolls up Caden Koyama. John, Sergey rolled Caden Koyama for a win.
Yes.
In this match. Sergey gets the big win. Koyama takes a really, I don't want to say an embarrassing loss, but a very, very unnecessary loss. Look, man, these two brothers, this is going to get, I think stuff like this makes it personal. When Koyama goes out there with his brother, figuring that this is just going to be like a warm-up match, a training match, even though you can't be taking Sergey lightly. But at this point, when the XB bars don't even compare, they're not even in the same state, let alone zip codes. If you're Koyama, you might be looking past Sergey on this one. And Casanova kind of imposing himself in this did not help matters whatsoever.
Was
but
it
Sergey
planned, though?
being... Huh?
Was it planned?
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that this was accidental. I think this is Casanova playing mind games with his bro because the match has been announced. They know what's going on. I don't put it past Casanova to be that weaselly little punk, even to his own brother. And tonight is just firsthand account of what Casanova can do when he doesn't care. And Koyama takes a loss. I don't want to be in that ride home. I don't want to be in that locker room after those two got to the back together.
I don't want to be a member of the law office right now.
I don't want to be Preston, right? The last person I want to be
What
in
is
the world
Preston
right now
gonna
is
do?
Preston.
What's he going to do? Is he going to pick and choose? Is he going to be that guy?
He's going wherever the 10% comes from.
Well, he just
He's
said a
made
few
that
weeks
clear.
ago that he could easily make 10% off of both these guys and make it 20%.
JK Pop Pro Wrestling in the chat. I don't know if Koyama was going to get slammed. I don't know about all that. They were both kind of standing there in the ring. Yes, Sergey kind of had control, but
He definitely got rolled up.
I distracted Sergey, and it's Koyama's fault. All right, so that is Johnny Casanova. That is Johnny Casanova. I distracted Sergey, and it's Koyama's fault. He didn't pay attention. You're not wrong, but you
Why are you on the
weren't
apron?
right either. Right. If you have so much confidence in brother, and you've said it before 1,000 times, how do you not have confidence in brother? You guys were tag team champions for over 1,100 some days, which is ridiculous. The amount of time you guys, how does that trust not exist? That you have to go up there and do that? I don't know, dude. Not smart. Never accused you of being smart, but that's wicked not smart.
We're just going to have to keep on watching this unfold because who knows what's going to happen. He was in trouble. I was there to help.
Like a brick to the head.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So Sergey comes up with a huge win. And I think this is the proper moment, ladies and gentlemen, to announce.
Wait, what?
Yeah, listen. This might be a proper moment to announce our membership stream this month. And the RMP talent that I was able to pull out of the woodwork, because I had to make some phone calls. There's a lot of long distance phone calls, put it that way. On the 21st of May, we are going to have none other than Sergey.
Wow! Dude, seriously? We have Sergey coming on the show? Yes! Yes! Oh my goodness. Oh, oh my God. I got all excited, and then I just sat here and went, oh man, we are about to have the best interview in the history of interviews.
You think?
I don't know. It's going to be really hard to top some of the Three Ring Circus interviews that we've had. They've been fantastic. This has the ability. This might have the ability.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
There goes the
Even
chat.
Bossy's excited in the chat. So Bossy, yeah. Oh my God, dude, that's going to be amazing.
A couple Sundays from now, May 21st, will be when we have Sergey on, a couple weeks before Milestone. So, probably perfect timing for Sergey to come on. Don't you think? Get everybody riled up.
It's gonna be a riot. That is going to be a riot to hear his thoughts on what's going on in RMP, his road to Milestone, his road through wrestling. That is going to be amazing to finally sit with him. We've heard him on commentary. We heard him announce his own name tonight in the ring. He took the microphone away from Arias. We've heard him in a lot of different connotations. We haven't heard him here in the like the outside of the ring element, out of the arena element. This will be fantastic.
Yeah,
oh my God, dude, I'm juiced. I'm happy.
Yeah, it was actually a few days worth of phone calls, as a matter of fact, trying to get Sergey to be able to hop on with us on the 21st, because I had some issues. There was definitely a language barrier that I had to go through in trying to contact Sergey for this. But he is going to be in the area, and we picked the date, and he was okay with it in whatever language he was talking. I did have a translator a couple times. So
Good. You need that. Well, I'll have to fire up my Translate app on my phone just to make sure of everything. Somebody has to teach him how to use a computer. Z, can you set him up? Do you mind setting the kid up for us?
It's just a push-to-talk thing. That's all.
No.
Monster
But
9
like
did
a
it.
computer, getting them in Discord and everything else. We gotta set him up.
Yeah, that's another few more phone calls I'm going to have to do.
That's okay.
Well,
Hey, on half of the tag team champs is here. What's up, Lynx? We doing, Balaam? Perfect timing too, champ.
You have David B 220. How's it going?
Davey B. What's up, dude? Thanks for checking in.
So yeah, not only did Sergey get the win tonight,
Thank you, Z.
but he is also officially going to be on the membership only live stream, which the only way you can interact with Sergey out of all people, probably the most over talent in Rocky Mountain Pro right now, or one of, I should say. Shouldn't go that far, but one of the most exciting wrestlers in Rocky Mountain Pro today. The only way to interact with him is to become a member. You don't technically have to be a pay-per-view member to interact with Sergey. You can be a tier 1 member.
Just tier 1.
Yes, but it would make sense for you to pay the extra $5 or $4, whatever it is, to become a tier 2 member. That way, not only do you get to interact with Sergey, but you will also get Milestone 13 as well. So make sure you join.
Might as well.
Yeah, you might as well.
Might as well.
So make sure you join up. Join up on the YouTube channel. $9.99 gets you the Sergey membership only live stream, and of course, Milestone 13 on June 1st.
And that is tier 2.
Tier
It's only 2. Got the shoulder up. Get the shoulder up. Tier 2, baby. Get that tier 2.
All right. We got to move
the
on
other half
here.
of the tag team champions are here too. Echo's here too.
Run it back. Run it back.
Run it all back, baby.
All right.
We're about to start it.
Yes, we're about to start it right here with La Isla, your reigning tag team champions. Doesn't have a match yet for Milestone 13, but again, make sure you tune in to Charge every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. See, there you go. I'm getting better at it.
Yeah, boy.
And make sure you tune into all the upcoming news and matches and all that stuff that will be announced for this big event, Rocky Mountain Pro's big event of the year, Milestone 13. La Isla's going up against Jason, Knoll, and Panther, who actually worked pretty goddamn well together, if I do say so myself.
I gotta say, you're not wrong, man. This really weird pairing of Panthro and Jason Knoll has something to it. These guys were very cohesive together at getting the ref out of dodge so that they could do their thing in the corner, but not in the beginning. La Isla came out wicked hot against Panthro. There was a little feeling out in the beginning, but La Isla comes out with a wicked hot start on Panthro. But once Jason Knoll gets in the ring, things kind of change. The power advantage takes over, and Echo's the first to feel it with a big sky high that could not have felt good coming down. Balaam and Lynx end up coming in to make the save because it very well may have been the end of the match. I don't know, Echo is here, but I'm telling you, at that moment in time, his eyes were in the back of his head. That's a big sky high from a guy who knows how to throw it. And from that moment on, Jason Knoll and Panthro really work Echo over. Jason has the powerhouse, and Echo's really just fighting. Eventually, Panthro gets in. Echo scores a couple big shots to get himself out of that corner. Balaam comes in with a big hot tag and really starts going nuts. Gets a beautiful Japanese arm drag off onto Panthro, takes him in the ring, and really just starts having his way. Jason gets back in, turns the tides again. Like, this is a tag team that came out of nowhere. And I'm not talking about La Isla, I'm talking about Panthro and Jason, but they have ways of regaining advantages and not letting even the tag team champions stay on top for too long. Albeit a lot of it is by distracting the ref. Somebody came over at one point, I think Jason came over and knocked Echo off of the apron at the very end of it, but Lynx ends up taking over. Before Echo was back out, I got to point this part of the match out because these were some of the best shots that we saw all night, kicks and punches. Echo wanted Jason Knoll to get some space away from him. We saw 3 or 4 real solid thrust kicks and a couple real good shots to the side of the head and to the chest, and Echo really laying the boots into Jason. But then once Balaam kind of got in at the end of the match, he ends up getting a huge double howl at the moon because Echo had gotten knocked off, and Panthro and Jason are in the center of the ring. Balaam comes off, howl at the moon onto both of them, and then hits the big senton onto Jason Knoll at the end of the match for the big win. And La Isla, fighting a really hard-fought match here, ends up coming out with a win that tomorrow morning they're going to know they were in a hell of a match. Even against 2 guys that just got paired up kind of recently, like Jason and Panthro, they're going to know that they were in a match tomorrow. Much respect to those guys for throwing a match like that at the tag team champions, but La Isla, too good, too cohesive, too hot, and having that way at the end of a match at finishing. We talk about resilience. We talked about guys like Briscoe Crown tonight. Echo and Balaam are personified that and are just a couple years ahead of that experience curve that the younger guys are figuring out how to do it. Right now, guys like Echo and Balaam are perfecting that resilience and that ability to show up and still play hard, like they say in the games, like, fourth quarter cardio time. It's the end of the match cardio. Keep yourself up, running, and let yourself hit that finisher and get the win. And tonight, Balaam had all that cardio and then some to win the match for La Isla. Fantastic win, impressive win over Panthro and Jason Knoll tonight.
Yeah, and you talk about resilience, and we talked about it throughout the course of the night with a few of these matches. I think La Isla has had probably, at least the last 2, maybe 3 matches, have probably had one of the more tougher matches, either on the card or just in general, like the past month or 2. Every single match that these guys have been a part of, for the most part, ever since they've been champions, it's been down to the wire. It really has. And it's kudos to the competitors who are against La Isla because they have been proven time in, time out that they can compete with the tag team champions. But it also shows the resilience and the will to win for La Isla, even when the titles are still not on the line. You got to remember that.
It's almost like it doesn't matter with those guys. They fight the same for the belts as they are just having a match. They show up and they act like the champions, they wrestle like the champions, and they walk out the champion.
And it's just like in sports. It doesn't matter if you win by 20 or you win by 2. As long as you get the W. And to be honest, they've been winning by 2 lately.
Yeah.
But again,
they're winning.
Good teams and champions find a way to win no matter what, and that's what La Isla is right now.
And they complement each other so well. Whether it's Echo in there at the end coming off with the double foot stomp, whether it's Balaam coming off with an animality or anything, a howl at the moon, you're never safe when one of those guys is fresh. You're never safe when those guys are in the ring running around. The only way to stop La Isla is to slow them down. And it's very, very difficult. It's been proven. It's really hard to slow them down. They have that fourth quarter cardio in every match that they've wrestled so far. That's why they are still the champions. That's why they're still on top. And even on Ignition, when the belts are not on the line, they're still coming up victorious.
I think Echo has him right where he wants him. Uh-oh.
Wait, what?
That's coming from D-Hort.
As who right where he wants him?
That's what he said. I think Echo, excuse me, I think Echo has him right where he wants him. End of comment.
Very broad comment. Can be taken many, many ways.
All right. Well,
I wonder what he's insinuating. I don't know if about any of those things, but
we're gonna ignore that because I don't see La Isla losing any time now.
No.
All right. Moving on. We got the main event. And for Smoke and Mirrors, it was literally a horror movie for the most part. Smoke and Mirrors with Cushman and McDiamond going up against the number one contender for the NRW Championship, Damon Ace, and your reigning Rocky Mountain Pro heavyweight champion, David Drake.
We are gathered here this evening to witness that was the destruction of Smoke and Mirrors.
Heads down. Moment of silence, please.
Courtesy of the Dreadnoughts of Destruction.
Yes.
That was the team of Damon Ace versus David Drake, not versus. Maybe someday, but not today. Damon Ace and
Imagine
David Drake
that
are
happens. Jeez.
Someday in the future. Maybe.
He's had multiple chances already.
You know, but I want to say something. Before this match even got going, Drake and Ace were the first two to the ring. And there was almost a sign of like cohesion between them. They kind of looked at each other and had like one of them sideways smiles at each other.
Yeah.
And Damon kind of tapped him on the shoulder like they were on the same page. If Drake and Ace are on the exact same page, I quit. Because that is going to be, that's beyond necessary at this point in time in Rocky Mountain Pro. Thankfully, both of these guys both have their own other places that they need to put focus on. But tonight, Smoke and Mirrors kind of draws the small stick here. Mick tries to start out doing anything he can against Damon, and he actually does a pretty good job, much like Adrian Mascara did, of kind of dodging and getting around Lilith Grimm. Mick does a pretty good job at dodging Damon and kind of getting around him and getting behind him and forcing Damon to kind of like lose his equilibrium for a second.
Blame
and
him?
actually, no. This is how, if you do not match up with experience or size against Damon Ace, this is how you have to fight him. Trust me, I know. I did a horrible job of it. It's stick and move. Hit him and run. Let him try to make a mistake. Mick got a glimmer of potential hope early. Gets a boot up in the corner. Gets Damon in the chest. Gets a couple shots. Gets into his corner. Actually makes a tag to Cushman. And they both get in and they try to start working Damon, but they get Damon almost down to a knee. But then Damon just reaches in and grabs a handful of each one of them and just kind of deadlifts them both straight up. And kind of like he was walking groceries from his car to the front door of his house, he just walks over to his corner and just tags David Drake. And that's when the onslaught really began. Now, Smoke and Mirrors had moments. Cushman had a few moments where he was able to fight back against David Drake and really kind of do anything that he possibly could. He does get Drake down once or twice, but Drake doesn't take nice to that. One thing we have to point out is not only before the match where they kind of on the same page, Damon and David Drake, but during the match, they worked very cohesively, quick tags in and out to each other. Damon did a good job, although he's a freaking knucklehead at doing it, and I loved none of it. You keep your face out of Ref Alice Lane's face. Don't you walk over and intimidate her like that. She's a ref. Don't even start. That's not necessary in the absolute least bit, especially when your team has been dominating this match. That was highly unnecessary to go do to the new ref's face. That was really stupid, Damon. Whether it worked or not, it doesn't matter. And I know it's just Damon doing Damon stuff. I get it. But, that's knuckleheadery at its absolute finest. Mick is trying as absolute hard as he can. He ends up getting Cushman in. Damon just walks himself into the ring and starts taking over. Now Ref Alice starts losing control of the given situation here. They get rid of Mick Diamond just out of the ring and gone. And then we see one of the most devastating two-guy things I've seen. We see a mandible maul chokeslam where David Drake doesn't let go of the maul. And Cushman is just down and out, and it is just absolutely over at the end. Ref Alice ends up ringing the bell because she absolutely just has to. It's over at this point. But then that's not enough for Drake and Damon Ace. They pick up the belt. They go after each guy, and they continue the absolute destruction. Even after the show goes off the air, Mick and Cushman were absolutely being eviscerated inside the ring, outside the ring. I hope the refs managed to get some kind of control. Hopefully the locker room came out and kind of slowed that down a little bit. They didn't do anything in that match to warrant that. That's just Drake and Ace kind of playing with their food during the match and then mashing the potato at the end of the match. It's just not necessary for these guys. And that's a champion too, by the way. I'm going to point that out. That's a champion. But yeah, terrible way to finish the match. Smoke and Mirrors have been on a little roll, but this was just far too much, even for most anybody in RMP. Even La Isla would have had a hell of a time tonight with Drake and Ace. But Drake and Ace, David Drake being Rocky Mountain Pro Champion, doesn't get a point here. Mick Diamond and Cushman both lose a point. Mick Diamond's back down to 1 point, still on the positive side of things, even though he won that Reset Royale a couple weeks to have him up to 3. He's slipped back down to 1. Cushman's sitting there at -2. But I have to talk to somebody in Rocky Mountain Pro about something that happened this evening with, this is the controversy that we needed to talk about.
Yeah, you mentioned it at the top of the show.
Yes, Alice Lane, you are not right. That was unnecessary to say the very, very least. You were doing a hell of a job trying to keep order where chaos was reigning supreme. And you really didn't need that, and that wasn't warranted in the least bit. Hopefully, Presidente Peligro himself, Danger Dean, was watching. And hopefully there's some kind of ramifications or repercussions. Or actually,
the way that he's been making decisions lately.
Well, that's a pretty easy decision to make. Or maybe Yaden will just kind of settle that score real quick. I can't imagine Yaden was too happy to see something like that. See Damon Ace just kind of take advantage, of a young referee that's doing a good job, training, kicking ass, doing a good job in the middle of the ring. And then Damon does that kind of stuff. Yeah, hit him for fun. You ain't wrong, boss. But I just want to point out, I think, and I have to find out if it was because he was tagging with David Drake. Damon Ace's point is in question on my sheet. Because if Damon Ace gets a point for winning tonight, even though he was tagging with the champion, does that make him ineligible for points or not? Because if that's the case, that puts Damon Ace at 5 points in the drive for 5, and it puts him behind Curtis Cole as the next person in charge for that #1 contender spot. In keeping true to the way we've been doing points since day one. So I'll have to have some kind of communication with the behind the scenes at Rocky Mountain Pro, and I'll have a conversation with somebody, and we'll try to figure that out, and we'll get that information back to you probably Sunday night when we do the rewind. We'll get that information out, but we got to find out about Damon Ace's point because that changes quite a bit in the point standings as of right now.
Yeah, that means you have 2 #1 contenders going at Zamore. So
Correct. And this is the only thing that I have coming out of this episode of Ignition that made me just kind of question. This is another wicked pisser episode of Ignition, week in and week out. Even with that menagerie, that vocal menagerie, I should call him, Derek Stone on commentary. You never know what you're getting out of him. You never know what you're going to get. Lucas holding it all together down there. What a great series of ignitions we watched on this road to Milestone as we get closer and closer each and
You
every
have
week.
to expect them now. You have to.
So
We're 3 weeks away
good.
from Milestone. And that last ignition for Milestone, actually the day of Milestone, is the Colorado Cup. So,
What a pre-show to get us ready for the big show that is Milestone from the Colorado Cup. And we've seen the Colorado Cup match itself change futures, alter careers, and like completely augment the landscape in Rocky Mountain Pro year in and year out. Every single we have David Drake to thank now, the David Drake that he is, the champion that he is for winning, cashing in that Colorado Cup and eviscerating Owen Easton at the same exact time too. So futures have been changed, landscapes have been altered. What's going to happen this year on the Colorado Cup, let alone Milestone right after it? It's going to be huge, dude.
It
huge.
Is. All right. Well, that's going to conclude Ignition for this evening. And Coastal's not here, so we're not going to be doing no Beacon of the Weeks and anything like that. Marky, we all know that there's a point in question, and we will wait for an official from RMP to officially announce that issue. But besides the Damon Ace one,
yes,
what do we have for standings as of right now?
All right. Yeah, because we can definitely, we'll get some clarification on that. I will absolutely speak with the people who are in charge of the point standings out there, and we'll figure out, we'll get this whole thing cleared up. As it stands right now, your number one contender is Curtis Cole. We saw him knucklehead his way out of a match tonight with Kendrick LaRoe, but he doesn't lose that point. He doesn't lose that right. He's still the number one contender.
Correct.
We have Damon Ace either at 4 or 5, but either way, he is still, even if it's 4, he's still at the top of the points chase. Brumac taking a loss tonight, drops down to 2. Kendrick LaRoe getting the win tonight, climbs his way up to 2. So Brew and Kendrick LaRoe tied at 2 points. There is a little bit of a logjam. There's 4 people tied at 1 point. Casanova, Johnny Casanova, who wasn't in action, even though he was, does not lose a point tonight. He's still sitting at 1. The boss himself, the final boss, Bruce Waynes, has 1. Mick Diamond in the losing effort drops down to 1. And Sergey played his way up to 1. So we have Brew and Kendrick at 2. We got Johnny Casanova, Mick Diamond, Bruce Waynes, and Sergey at 1. Caden Koyama and Panthro in their losing efforts tonight both drop to 0. There's a little bit of a tie at -1. Lord Mitchell Taylor, Remy D, Tengu, who was in chat tonight on the show, and AJ Sensation. I don't know if he'll be back soon, but he will still stay on the leaderboard. And Sky Hossman and Cushman bringing up the rear, having losing efforts tonight as well at -2. A very good night tonight if you are your starting lineup fan. A very bad night if you are a member of the law office tonight on Ignition. And going forward, this is going to get changed again. We'll see a title match. Samori in the chat is ready for a knucklehead like Curtis Cole. He was talking about, what he's going to expect and how he's going to see it. That match is going to be off the hook, folks, this next couple weeks going into Milestone. You're not going to want to miss a single show. Too much is happening here in the RMP universe. Really, really is, man. So much going on.
And we will be there for it the entire way up until Milestone, where, well, we won't be doing shows for a few days.
We'll be there.
Correct.
That's why.
So who knows?
We might squeak a show in somewhere. Who knows?
We'll figure it out. We don't know what's going on
You
until we get down there.
know. You never know what the dudes can come up with some Wi-Fi. We'll figure it out.
But we will be there every step of the way going into the road or the climb or wherever you want, or however you want to call it, to Milestone 13.
They're calling it the March. The March to Milestone.
Is it the March to Milestone this year? Well, then the March to Milestone it is. All right. That's going to conclude this episode of Reignited, folks. We thank you so much for watching. Again, Give you a little reminder for all those people who just tuned in just now. We announced our RMP talent that will be joining us for our members only live stream in the month of May. It is none other than our favorite Russian, Sergey.
Sergey! That is going to be a banger. Oh my God, is that going to be a banger?
It is going to be a good show for sure. You're not going to want to miss that. And the only way to actually interact and ask questions to Sergey is to become an RMP supporter. And quite frankly, you only need to be a tier 1 supporter.
I love that picture of Sergey.
It's the only one I could find.
I love it. He's the thumbs up in the big like Hawaiian shirt with the fly. I love it, dude.
It's the only one I could find.
Oh my God.
He's very hard to get a hold of nowadays.
Get your kazoos ready, Mr. Fourth Row says.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
I am all about this interview. This is going to be fantastic.
Like I was saying, the only way you get a chance to interact and ask Sergey questions face-to-face or virtually face-to-face will be by becoming a member or a supporter at Tier 1 on the Rocky Mountain Pro YouTube page for $4.99. But, however, to make your life a little bit more easier, because, you know, Milestone's about 3 weeks away, you might as well just go for the Tier 2 and pay that $9.99, because not only will you be able to now have Milestone 13 when it goes live on YouTube, but you will also have all the Tier 1 perks, including the membership-only live chat stream with the RMP talent once a month. This month, perfect timing right before Milestone 13, we get Sergey.
And these members-only streams are a wicked good time. We get to actually catch some of the talent and the superstars out of the ring in their own element, and we get to ask the questions that you want to ask. We get to hear, you know, some personal. We found out favorite foods before. We found out favorite types of vehicles. Like, we found out all different things about the superstars that are in Rocky Mountain Pro and all the talent. And I can only, I can't even speculate what we're going to find out about Sergey during this, any kind of personal information that we find.
We're actually
I can't even begin to speculate.
We're actually going to probably create a food segment with Sergey, because I'm sure we will be talking about muffins. Because
it's always come back to a muffin.
It's always muffin time with Sergey.
He started muffin time.
He did when he was calm.
He started
when he was on the table that one time.
We have seen the pancake. We have seen the flapjack. I believe it is muffin time. And it has been muffin time. Somebody has rung the button on Sergey. So, God, that's going to be a fun interview. I can't wait for that. That's going to be fun.
It really is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be signing off this evening. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, we love the RMP faithful. You guys are fantastic supporters. We wouldn't be here without you guys. As always, for myself, Johnny Deathdrop, and Marky Pins, we'll see you guys on Sunday for another episode of the Rocky Mountain Rewind. Remember, we have to watch the main event that we missed with Humphrey Jacobs the first and Mario Vanger. And then after that, we will be watching the season finale of Charge. So season 1 will be officially done in the books after this Sunday. So make sure you tune in as we step back in time to the beginnings of Rocky Mountain Pro and in Rocky Mountain Pro Charge specifically. As always, folks, stay safe, stay classy. We'll see you on the next one. It's muffin time, baby.
Muffin time!